Hey guys, welcome to this introduction to sampling on the EMU ESI4000. This is for people that want to know how the unit works, if you're thinking of buying it or if you own it and you haven't taken the time to learn it, which is pretty much where I was at a few days ago. Yeah, this video is probably going to be useful. So when you fire it up, first thing you're going to see, if you're not in sample management, multi-mode or preset. Depends on the default setting of your unit. That's what you'll see when you fire things up. You're going to hear nothing, of course. So you've got to come up to sample and hit sample management. Then you've got a number of modules. If you know the number for your module, you can use the alphanumeric keypad to jump straight to what you need. So in this case, we're going to 5 to sample setup. You'll notice there's a flashing cursor and there's an arrow. So you've got cursor controls here. You can scroll through the pages with left and right, and you can move the cursor up and down to change what you've got on each line. Top line, AD converter gain. You've got 40 dBs of gain at the back and 16 dB of attenuation. When I say at the back, there's a stereo input. You can plug a mic in there, or you can plug balanced or unbalanced line level signals in there. I've got a Rumble of Ancient Time synth plugged in, so I'm going to leave it at 0. Scrolling down, threshold is where automatic sampling will begin. It's not critical for what I'm doing. This is the level. Doesn't matter. If you've got like complex loops or anything else, that might matter. But for this, not going to matter. Left and right, okay, you can turn whether or not it is sampled on and off. So if you've just plugged a mic into the right input, you'd turn the left off. Vice versa. So that's what we need there. Moving across, then we can set the length of our sample. So usually it'll default to the maximum amount you've got available, which in this case is 380. I'm just going to do 2 seconds. Unfortunately, you can't use the keypad to put the time you want in. You have to use the dial. But it's pretty cool. The faster you go, the quicker it'll scroll. So it's not too painful. It'll tell you on the bottom how many seconds you've got available, depending on how much RAM you've got in your unit or how many other samples are already loaded up in presets or banks. Then on this line, you can select your sample rate and the source. So you can do analog at 22.05 kilohertz, analog at 44.1 kilohertz, or if you've got the digital card installed, then you can do your digital at 48, 44.1 or 32. So I'm going to use 44.1. Scrolling across, sample auto tells you what's going to happen after you're sampled. So you can place your sample on white keys, 1 key, or any number of keys up to 24, or all the keys. So the way the ESI works, your sample goes straight into a preset. So either you're telling it to put it across all the keys in the preset, or you're giving it a definition for how many keys in a zone within the preset. So we'll go with 12 for this. And in Sample Monitor, you can determine whether or not you hear what you're going to sample in that earlier screen. All right, pretty basic, but we're going to go with that. There's one more thing in auto I didn't cover. 2 things. Normalize, you can turn normalizing on. Absolute and relative are for stereo normalization. So relative, say your left channel is 2 dB quieter on the peaks than the right. relative, no matter what happens in the normalization, we'll keep that 2 decibel difference. If it's important to have the stereo spread the same as what it went into the sampler, absolute, we'll just take both channels as high as it can. And off. Truncate, right. Both means it will truncate the end and the start automatically. Or you can just choose automatic end or start truncation or none. I like both for what I'm about to do. Sampling monitor is on. Okay, we're ready to go. So the module I want now is number 7, and it's just waiting for a signal. There you go, it's done its auto truncate. Didn't have to normalize because I went in at full volume anyway. So you've got an audition button to hear what you just sampled. And then if you go to your keyboard, that's it. It's spread it over 12 keys, black keys as well, but nowhere else. So what we do to put another sample into that preset, we come, just make sure in our sample management, go to select sample, hit enter. That's the sample we just recorded. It's telling you its name, that it's stereo, its sample rate, and that it is being used in one preset. So we have to select a new one, otherwise we're just going to overwrite it by sampling again. Okay, now we're ready, so we can go. Well, I already know that it's set up the way I want it, so we'll use a different way. Module number 8 is called forced sampling. So as soon as you hit enter or number 8 on the keypad, it just starts to sample. So we'll do that. Now on audition, that's what we just did. And there it is, on the next 12 keys up from our previous sample. I'll just do one more. So we're in the sample management section, so we scroll left again, select sample, enter, choose an empty sample. We'll go back to module 5, sample setup. Turn that off. What I'll change here, just to show you one other function when you're sampling, I'll change the length. So often, if you haven't already specified a sample time, it'll just default to the maximum available. And you're not going to want that most of the time. So I'll show you what happens. We'll go back to module 7. Oh, we've got to hit enter to get that set. 7, sampling is armed. I'm going to hit another voice. I got to hit escape to manually stop the sampler. Otherwise, it's just going to keep sampling for another 340 seconds or whatever it was. So audition, that's what we just did. Those were the 2 previous. That's one we just did. So there you go. And if you keep repeating that process, you will end up with as many samples as you can fit into one bank, one preset. I guess the other thing worth describing here, the way this works, so a bank is the highest level of the way this sampler organizes your data or your performance or whatever, like your multi-mode or your preset. Then you got presets, and within the presets are your samples. And within there you describe your zones, layering. You can layer 2 samples per key. I won't cover that in this video. So those are the basics. You can start bringing your own samples in and arranging them on the keyboard with this, with that knowledge. So thanks for watching.